Welcome to today's transformation dive here on Earn Flow Zone. Okay, real talk for a second. When was the last time you opened your banking app and didn't feel a little ick? Let's be honest, for too many of us, checking the balance is less like checking the score of your favorite team and more like bracing yourself for a doctor's visit where you just know you're getting bad news. You open it up, squint a little, maybe even flinch. You've probably been avoiding it all day, maybe all week. Why? Because that number staring back at you feels lower than it should. Or maybe the list of bills due feels less like a manageable to-do list and more like the Great Wall of China you have to climb with a sprained ankle. That feeling? Yeah, the one right in your stomach, that heavy weight of not enough. It's a constant nagging undercurrent, isn't it? Not enough money to do the things you really want. Not enough time because you're constantly scrambling just to keep up. Not enough security, always feeling just one unexpected bill away from things getting really tight. You look around, maybe on social media, maybe at friends or colleagues, and you see others who seem to be cruising, hitting their financial goals, building wealth, buying that thing they wanted, taking that trip. And you can't help but wonder, usually late at night when you should be sleeping, what in the actual world is wrong with you? Is it your salary? Is it your expenses? Are you just fundamentally bad with money? Like, were you born without the money gene? Spoiler, that's not a thing, thankfully. This feeling, this pervasive sense of not enough, coupled with the belief that you are the problem, it's not just about the specific dollars and cents sitting or not sitting in your bank account right now. It's much, much deeper. It's a persistent story your brain has been telling you, maybe for years, a narrative rooted in fear and limitation. It's the incredibly sneaky, insidious grip of what's known as a scarcity mindset. You've probably heard the term floating around in books, podcasts, maybe even on therapy TikTok. But you might not realize just how powerfully this specific pattern of thinking quietly dictates your entire financial reality, silently trapping you in a suffocating cycle of stress, forcing you to miss out on genuine opportunities and keeping you stuck in stagnant financial growth. You convince yourself that more money will automatically fix this feeling. You think, if I just got a raise, or if I won the lottery, or if I just started that side hustle and it blew up, then the stress would vanish and the feeling of not being enough would magically disappear. But here's a surprising truth. A major myth bust. You can absolutely double your income, get that huge raise, or even make a decent chunk of cash on the side, and still feel this exact same way if you don't address the underlying pattern of scarcity thinking. It's a common, cruel trap that keeps incredibly smart, hard-working, capable people feeling stuck, like they're constantly playing financial whack-a-mole. Think about the weird financial behaviors that pop up when you're in this mode. Maybe you pinch pennies until they scream unnecessary things like groceries, spending hours clipping coupons. But then, because you're stressed and feeling deprived, you impulse buy something completely useless online late at night. It's like dieting all day and then eating an entire pizza because you feel restricted. Or you dream of starting a creative project or a little side gig, something that could bring you joy and maybe even income. But you freeze up entirely at the thought of spending $50 on a necessary tool or a domain name. The risk feels monumental because your brain is screaming, "You don't have enough. Don't let go of any of it." You work incredibly hard. You put in the hours. You try to do the right things, but it genuinely feels like you're running on a financial treadmill set to maximum incline, pouring sweat, but never actually getting ahead. This frustrating state isn't some cosmic sign that you're cursed or evidence of some fundamental, irreparable flaw in your character. It's not bad luck, though it certainly feels like it sometimes. This, my friend, is the scarcity mindset quietly, sometimes not so quietly, calling all the shots in your financial life. It's the director of your money movie, and it's written a rather depressing script. And until you consciously recognize this pattern, until you truly see the scarcity mindset for what it is and begin to actively, deliberately work to shift it, your bank account will likely continue to reflect that deeply uncomfortable, heavy feeling of not enough. It's a habit of thinking, a default setting, but like any habit, it can be changed with awareness and effort. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content that gets to the root of the problem, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think and keeps this community growing. And hey, drop a comment with where you're watching from, or maybe share your biggest money habit win, no matter how small. Celebrating progress helps shift that mindset. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success, starting right now. All right, let's dive into the very first real hurdle on your journey to earn flow zone. It's something almost everyone encounters, often without even realizing it's holding them back. We're talking about the scarcity trap. So what exactly is a scarcity mindset? You might think it's just about being broke, but it runs far deeper than the balance in your bank account. It's fundamentally the feeling that there's a finite, limited pie out there, and you're constantly afraid you won't get your slice, or worse, that taking a slice means someone else explicitly loses theirs. This mindset is a constant whisper in your ear, always telling you, "I can't afford that," instead of prompting the more empowering question, "How can I create value to afford that?" It's a subtle, insidious shift from focusing on what you can build, create, or earn, to fixating purely on what you currently lack. You start to see someone else's success not as inspiration or proof of possibility, but as a sign that there's less opportunity left in the world for you. It's like watching someone else get a promotion and thinking, "Well, guess there are no more good jobs left in this company," instead of, "Okay, how did they do that? And what skills do I need to develop?" This way of thinking makes you act small, think small, and inevitably play small in life and in your finances. Consider this common scenario. You desperately need to acquire a new skill to advance your career. Maybe learning digital marketing or data analysis, and there's a fantastic online course that costs $100. To the scarcity mindset, that $100 isn't an investment in future earning potential. It feels like an impossible barrier, a painful loss you simply can't afford to take right now. Meanwhile, and here's a little light absurdity for you, you might not even register the daily leaks in your budget. The $5 lattes, the impulse online purchases driven by stress or momentary pleasure, the subscriptions you forgot about. These small, forgettable expenditures, often fueled by the feeling of scarcity, seeking comfort in small buys, can add up to far more than that $100 course. Yet the scarcity mindset keeps your focus laser sharp on the big, necessary investment you feel you can't afford. It's like agonizing over the cost of a sturdy new roof while letting loose tiles cause water damage throughout the house. And here's the surprising, even startling insight. The one that truly busts the myth that scarcity is just about money levels. Scarcity thinking actually creates scarcity. It's a powerful psychological phenomenon. When your brain is fixated on lack, loss, and limitation, it literally becomes less effective at seeing possibilities. identifying resources, and solving problems creatively. You develop cognitive tunnel vision. You're so worried about safeguarding the little you believe you have or might lose that you become blind to the many chances available to gain much, much more. The cause-effect is clear. The thought pattern of scarcity inhibits the very actions needed to generate abundance. So your practical action today, right now, is simply to observe. For the next 24 hours, pay conscious attention to your thoughts about money and resources. Listen to the narrative in your head. Which thoughts sound like not enough, can't, impossible, or are driven by a palpable fear of losing what you have? Just notice them, without judgment for now. This observation is the vital first step to rewiring your financial brain. Welcome to today's Transformation Dive, here at the Earn Flow Zone. Ever feel like you're playing a financial game where someone keeps moving the goalposts just as you get close? Or maybe you've had that feeling, deep down, that you should be making better money choices, but somehow you just don't. It's a frustrating cycle, isn't it? Like trying to build a magnificent sandcastle while the tide keeps rushing in faster than you can stack the sand. You see others building theirs, seemingly effortlessly, and you wonder what secret trick you're missing. Well, spoiler alert, it's less about a secret trick and more about understanding the underlying currents that affect all of us. We're not just going to talk about budgeting or investing in this episode, though those are crucial. We're going to dig into the mindset stuff, the hidden drivers behind your financial actions, the psychological forces that either propel you forward or subtly hold you back, often without you even realizing it. Because frankly, understanding why you do what you do with money is the first, most powerful step to changing what you do with money. And that change, my friend, can be absolutely life-altering. It's about building resilience, cultivating abundance, and creating that steady, positive flow in your financial life. If you're ready to stop fighting the tide and start sailing with it, you're in the right place. Before we plunge into the depths, a quick note. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think. Seriously, clicking that button is like giving the universe a little nudge that says, yes, more of this valuable stuff, please. And it helps us keep creating it for you. Also, I'd love to connect with you. Drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win. Sharing your successes, big or small, is incredibly powerful, both for you and for inspiring others. Let's build this community together. All right, enough preamble. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success, starting with a look at one of the most insidious financial traps there is. Now, let's talk about something that absolutely wrecks your financial decision-making, often without you even noticing. Scarcity. Logic gets fuzzy, impulse takes over, and you just want the quickest relief, no matter the long-term cost. This isn't some kind of moral failing, not evidence that you're bad with money. It's a well-documented psychological and cognitive effect. When your mind is constantly preoccupied with not having enough, not enough money, not enough time, not enough resources, it consumes a significant portion of your cognitive bandwidth. Imagine trying to run complex software on a computer with hardly any RAM left. Everything slows down, freezes, and crashes. That's what scarcity does to your brain, specifically in the area where you feel the scarcity. You make short-term, often detrimental, choices purely to alleviate the immediate stress and pressure, completely neglecting the long-term gain. It's like trying to lose weight, but stress eating a whole pizza because the hunger feels unbearable right now. Consider a common scenario. You desperately need to save for a big goal, like a down payment on a house, or investing seriously for retirement. These are massive, daunting targets. A scarcity mindset makes them feel overwhelmingly far away, maybe even impossible. So what happens? Instead of starting small, or even starting at all, the sheer weight of the goal under the cloud of scarcity paralyzes you. Then, paradoxically, you might rationalize buying a new gadget you don't really need, perhaps telling yourself, "I've been working so hard, I deserve this," or "life is short, I should enjoy it," or even just because buying something offers a fleeting sense of control or pleasure in a situation that otherwise feels completely out of control. You're using a tiny, immediate gratification to soothe the massive chronic pain of feeling scarce, even though that tiny purchase actively works against your long-term goal. It's the ultimate financial self-sabotage loop. Here's a surprising truth, backed by behavioral economics research. Scarcity makes you less intelligent and less rational, specifically about the area where you feel scarce. It impairs executive functions like planning, problem-solving, and impulse control. The deeply ingrained myth is that people with lower incomes make poor financial decisions primarily because they are ignorant about personal finance. While education is always helpful, the more profound, often overlooked truth is that they frequently make poor decisions. Decisions that seem illogical to someone not experiencing scarcity, because they are under the immense cognitive load of scarcity. Their brains are simply too preoccupied with managing the current crisis to effectively plan for the future or resist immediate temptation. It's not willful ignorance. It's impaired judgment caused by chronic stress. Understanding this shifts the focus from judgment to empathy, and more importantly, to finding ways to alleviate the cognitive burden, even in small steps. Because when you understand the cause, the cognitive impairment driven by scarcity, you can start to address it more effectively. Your action step for this section is simple and comes with absolutely no judgment attached. Think of just one recent small financial decision you made that you now regret. Maybe it was an impulse purchase. Maybe it was putting off a necessary financial task. Maybe it was just wasted money on something trivial. Now, honestly ask yourself, did scarcity or the feeling of scarcity, stress, fear, feeling deprived, overwhelmed by lack, play a role in that decision? Did the immediate desire for relief or gratification override your logical, long-term thinking? Just identify it. Don't beat yourself up. Just see the pattern, because seeing the pattern is the first step to breaking it. And that brings us to the end of our transformation dive for today. We've peeled back the layers on how something as fundamental as a feeling of scarcity can quietly, yet powerfully, hijack your financial decisions, turning what seems like simple choices into cognitive minefields. The one big takeaway here is recognizing that your financial state isn't purely a reflection of your discipline or intelligence. It's deeply intertwined with your psychology, your emotional state, and the cognitive resources you have available. When you feel scarce, your brain works against you, making you less effective precisely where you need to be most effective. The potential long-term benefit of understanding this is monumental. By simply acknowledging the power of scarcity thinking, you can start to create tiny pockets of cognitive space. You can begin to notice when scarcity is influencing you and deliberately choose a different path, even a small one. Instead of letting stress drive impulse, You can pause, identify the feeling, and ask yourself if this immediate action truly serves your future self. It's like learning to spot an optical illusion. Once you see how it works, you're less likely to be fooled by it. Here's a deeper insight about money, discipline, and growth. True financial freedom isn't just about accumulating wealth. It's about cultivating a mindset of abundance, even when resources are currently limited. It's about building the internal resilience and awareness to make choices aligned with your long-term vision, rather than being tossed about by immediate pressures. It's a practice, not a destination. Every conscious, thoughtful financial decision you make, no matter how small, is a vote for your future self, a tiny step out of the scarcity loop and towards a future where you are in control. Keep practicing, keep learning, keep growing. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. Now, you might be focused on boosting your income, landing that bigger paycheck, or maybe even dreaming of a sudden windfall. And while earning more money is definitely a piece of the financial puzzle, here's a harsh truth the earn flow zone needs you to hear. More money doesn't automatically cure a scarcity mindset. It really doesn't. Think about the stories we've all heard, maybe even personally witnessed. People who win the lottery and are broke again within a few years. Folks who get a massive raise and, instead of feeling secure, suddenly feel more stressed about bills or debt or keeping up appearances. Why does this happen? It's because they never addressed the operating system of their mind, the scarcity programming that was running in the background all along. A scarcity mindset isn't about how much money you have. It's about your relationship with money and your underlying belief about whether there's enough. When you pour more money into a mind built on scarcity, you don't eliminate the lack. You just find bigger, faster, or more creative ways to experience it. The feeling of not enough scales right alongside your income. Imagine someone stressed about paying rent on $50,000 a year. You'd think jumping to $150,000 would solve everything, right? But often, the anxiety simply shifts. Now they're stressed about keeping up with the perceived lifestyle of their new income bracket, affording luxury vacations their friends take, or constantly panicking that their investments might tank and they could lose it all. They've absolutely upgraded their financial problems, but the gnawing anxiety and the focus on what could be lost, or what they still lack compared to others, persists. This reveals one of the most surprising and crucial insights about wealth. It's not purely a number in a bank account or a portfolio. It's fundamentally a state of mind, and perhaps even more importantly, a system you build, a system of beliefs, habits, and emotional responses surrounding money. If your internal money system is programmed for scarcity, constantly anticipating loss, focusing on limits, feeling undeserving or fearful, it will unconsciously find ways to create scarcity in your reality, regardless of the external input. It's like installing powerful software on a computer with a faulty operating system. The new program might give you more capacity, but the underlying issues will still cause crashes and errors. The pervasive myth that all my problems will magically disappear if I just had X amount of money is perhaps scarcity's most insidious and powerful lie. It keeps you focused on the external fix instead of the internal work. You think you need more money, but what you actually need is a mindset upgrade. Here's a powerful, slightly challenging reflection prompt directly from the Earn Flow Zone playbook, designed to shine a light on your own underlying money fears. This one habit changed everything for me when I first confronted it. Take a moment. Really think about this. If someone genuinely gave you $1 million tomorrow, no strings attached, what would be your first immediate fear or worry specifically related to that money? Would it be fear of losing it? Fear of how people would change towards you? Fear of not knowing how to manage it? Fear of it not being enough for what you really need? Whatever pops into your head first, no filter, write it down. That first fear is a direct indicator of a scarcity trigger point living within you. Addressing that specific fear is a critical step on the path to true financial peace and growth, far more important than just chasing the next dollar. Okay, if scarcity is the trap, that feeling of not enough, of limited options, of constantly protecting what little you have, what's the way out? It's fundamentally shifting your perspective. It's about consciously choosing the growth or abundance lens. This isn't some woo-woo concept about pretending everything is perfect or blindly ignoring genuine challenges. Let's be real. Bills still need paying, and setbacks happen. But the shift is about something far more potent. Believing in potential, actively seeking possibilities, and focusing your energy on creating value rather than solely conserving resources. It's the difference between slamming into a closed door and only feeling frustration and defeat, versus seeing that closed door and immediately asking, okay, that path is blocked for now. Are there other doors around here? Can I perhaps build a new door using what I have? What did I just learn from this obstruction so I don't hit it again? It's a dynamic, active way of engaging with the world. Think about the classic example. Someone gets laid off from their job. The scarcity mindset immediately sees catastrophe. Limited options flood their thoughts. They feel helpless, trapped, focusing on the income loss and the difficulty of finding another job exactly like the last one. They might hunker down, cut everything, and freeze. Now, the growth mindset sees a significant challenge, absolutely, acknowledges the difficulty, but also starts seeing cracks where light might come through. They ask, is this an opportunity to acquire a new in-demand skill I didn't have time for before? Can I explore a different industry that might align better with my long-term goals? Is this the unexpected nudge I needed to finally start that side project I've always dreamed of? They aren't ignoring the problem, but they are pivoting their focus to what they can control and can create. They focus on planting new seeds instead of just mourning the one tree that fell. It's like being dealt a tough hand in a game, but instead of folding, you study the cards, calculate the odds, and figure out the best possible play you can make from here. Here's the truly surprising, almost counterintuitive shift. Cultivating an abundance mindset isn't about having abundance in your bank account right now. Nope, it's about perceiving and acting from a place where you believe potential exists, where opportunities can be found or created, and where resources like knowledge, connections, creativity, time are often expandable, not fixed little pies to be fought over. It's understanding that learning a new skill expands your value, networking expands your opportunities, and solving problems creatively expands possibilities. Your current financial state is the scoreboard of past actions and mindsets. The abundance mindset is the strategy you adopt now to change the future game. It recognizes that value isn't just in dollars. It's in skills, relationships, resilience, and the capacity to learn and adapt. It's the ultimate leverage point. Ready for a micro action to kickstart this shift? Try this for a week. Identify one specific area in your life. Maybe it's your income, your career path, a particular skill you lack, or even just feeling stuck in a routine where you currently feel most limited by scarcity. Now, without judgment, brainstorm 3 to 5 potential actions you could take to introduce growth or abundance into that one area. Seriously, list anything, no matter how small, silly, or crazy it might seem initially. Could you spend 30 minutes learning a new micro skill online? Could you reach out to one person in a different field? Could you rearrange your day to create some space for a creative project? Focus relentlessly on the question, how can I introduce possibility here, instead of defaulting to, I can't because. This one habit, this simple pivot to how can I, changed everything for me. Okay, shifting gears slightly now. We've talked about understanding where you are and busting some foundational myths, but how do you act on that understanding? This brings us to a critical pivot point, a mindset shift that feels like turning the lights on in a previously dim room. Section 6, Shift 1, From Cutting Costs to Growing Value. Welcome to Shift 1, moving away from the scarcity trap of only cutting costs and embracing the power of growing your value. Think about the scarcity mindset. It fixates relentlessly on cutting expenses. Where can I save another dollar? How can I shave off 50 cents here, $5 there? Is the constant internal monologue. And look, let's be clear. Budgeting, tracking your spending, and finding smart ways to save are absolutely essential tools in your financial toolkit. Ignoring them would be like trying to bake a cake without measuring ingredients. Chaos. But when cutting costs becomes your sole focus, driven by a scarcity mindset, it can be incredibly paralyzing and, frankly, soul-crushing. It feels like constant deprivation. Every financial decision is about less. Less fun, less convenience, less everything. It's like trying to get fit by only eating less food. You might lose weight, sure, but you'll likely feel weak, deprived, and eventually that approach becomes unsustainable because you haven't built any strength or stamina. A growth mindset, however, understands that saving is only one side of the equation. It beautifully balances saving with actively increasing your ability to earn. It doesn't just ask, how can I spend less? It powerfully asks, how can I increase my capacity to create value and, as a result, increase my income? This mindset views strategic spending not as an expense to be minimized at all costs, but as a potential investment in future value. Think of it like investing in better cooking equipment. You spend money, but it enables you to create more delicious, valuable meals. Consider the two individuals we mentioned earlier, both aiming to improve their financial standing. One is deep in the scarcity zone, spending hours clipping coupons, meticulously tracking every penny spent on lattes and groceries, constantly feeling the pinch of deprivation. They're diligent, yes, but their energy is primarily focused on shrinking their financial footprint. The other person also tracks their spending, because good data is always crucial. But they dedicate an hour a day to learning a high-demand skill online: coding, digital marketing, advanced data analysis. They see the course fee not just as money leaving their account, but as an investment in their future income potential, potentially opening doors to higher-paying roles or new income streams. Both are being diligent, both are focused on finance, but the second person is actively expanding their capacity to earn, not just contracting their spending. It's the difference between playing defense only and playing both defense and offense. One approach is about minimizing loss. The other is about maximizing gain. Here's the surprising insight, the myth bust that can truly change your financial game. Your most significant financial lever is often not reducing your spending by 10%, which can feel like a huge sacrifice, but increasing your earning by 10% or even more. Think about it. Cutting 10% from a $3,000 monthly budget is $300, but increasing a $4,000 monthly income by 10% is $400. And that increase compounds over time without requiring constant deprivation. It requires focusing your energy and creativity on creating value for others, whether that's value for your employer, value for clients, or value for customers through a product or service. This shift changes the energy around money from one of lack and restriction to one of possibility and creation. It's not about ignoring expenses. It's about elevating your focus to where the biggest potential impact lies. So here is your action step for this shift. Try this for a week. Spend just 15 minutes today or tomorrow brainstorming 3 ways you could potentially increase your income. Don't judge the ideas. Don't worry about how realistic they are right now. Just list possibilities. A side hustle based on a skill you have, learning a new skill in demand, asking for a raise or promotion at your current job, turning a hobby into a small income stream. Just list 3 potential paths to earning more. This simple act shifts your brain from just saving to actively generating. Welcome to today's Transformation Dive, right here on Earn Flow Zone. Are you tired of feeling like financial success is some secret club you weren't invited to? Like you're running on a hamster wheel, putting in the work, but the numbers in your bank account just shrug? It's almost ironic how much energy we spend chasing money while often overlooking the most powerful engine for generating it. We focus on cutting coupons, side hustles, or hoping for a lottery win. Hey, we've all been there for a second. But what if the real block isn't your external circumstances, but something happening right between your ears? What if changing your mindset isn't some fluffy concept, but the hardest working asset you own? If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think and keeps this zone growing. And seriously, I love hearing from you. Drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win, no matter how small. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. Now, let's zero in on a critical shift, one that often gets overlooked because it doesn't feel like doing something financial, like budgeting or investing. We're talking about shift 2 in your wealth journey, realizing that your richest asset isn't your current savings account balance or your property or even your job title. Your richest asset, the one that truly compounds and appreciates faster than any stock market, is learning. Think about it. So often, scarcity whispers in our ear, telling us that education or learning is a luxury we can't afford. I don't have the money for that class. I don't have the time to read that book or go to that conference. It sounds logical, right? If you're struggling, why would you spend precious resources on something that doesn't give you an immediate payout? But that's the scarcity trap working overtime. A growth mindset, however, understands a fundamental truth. Knowledge and skills aren't expenses. They are investments in your future earning potential. They are the ultimate compounding assets because they increase your capacity to earn, adapt, and thrive no matter what the economy throws at you. Imagine someone stuck in a low-wage job, feeling utterly trapped. A scarcity mindset sees the walls closing in. I can't afford to go back to school. I'm too old to learn something new. Or worse, I'm just not smart enough to learn something valuable. This perspective locks them into their current situation, often creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of limited potential. It's like believing you can't improve your fitness because you can't afford a fancy gym membership, while ignoring the fact that you can run outside for free. But a growth mindset approaches this challenge from a completely different angle. It asks, what skills are currently in demand? Where can I find free or low-cost resources to start learning them? How can I invest even a small amount of time or money each week in my own education? This is where the surprising truth kicks in. In today's digital age, access to high-quality learning is cheaper and easier than ever before. Free online courses, YouTube tutorials, library resources, podcasts, blogs, the sheer volume of accessible knowledge is staggering. The real bottleneck isn't the cost of learning. It's often our willingness to prioritize it, our belief in our own ability to learn, and our discipline to invest the time. Your starting point, your current level of education or income, is far less important than your commitment to acquiring new capabilities. Learning isn't just about getting a degree. It's about continuously upgrading your internal operating system. This one habit changed everything for me and for countless people I've seen succeed. Treating learning as a non-negotiable part of your financial strategy, just like saving or investing. It's not a bonus activity. It's foundational. Your willingness to learn is the most valuable asset you possess because it unlocks all other assets. So here is your concrete action prompt for this shift. Identify one skill that could genuinely improve your earning potential or open new doors for you in the next 6 to 12 months. This could be anything from digital marketing, coding, advanced Excel, public speaking, graphic design, copywriting, sales techniques, or even a specific craft. Just pick one. Then, find one free resource, a specific YouTube series, a course on Coursera or edX with a free audit option, a book from your local library, or a free workshop online to start learning about it today. Don't overthink it. Just find the resource and commit to spending even 30 minutes with it before the day is over. Try this for a week. Dedicate a small, consistent block of time to learning this new skill. You'll be amazed at how quickly small, consistent learning compounds into tangible progress and, yes, increased earning potential. We've explored the profound power of treating learning as your prime asset, shifting from a scarcity mindset that sees education as a luxury to a growth mindset that views it as a critical investment. This isn't just about getting a better job. It's about building resilience, increasing your adaptability, and ensuring you can navigate the ever-changing landscape of work and finance. The one big takeaway from this shift is simple yet revolutionary. Your capacity to earn is directly tied to your capacity to learn. If you're not learning, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, your earning potential is static, or worse, shrinking in relative terms in a dynamic world. The potential long-term benefit of embracing this shift is immense. By consistently investing in your skills and knowledge, you don't just qualify for better opportunities. You create them. You become indispensable. You build a personal moat around your income, not with walls of credentials, though those can help, but with the dynamic flow of evolving capabilities. This isn't just about making more money in the short term. It's about building a foundation for lifelong financial security and personal fulfillment. It's like upgrading your mental software. You become more efficient, capable, and powerful with every update. A deeper insight about money, discipline, and growth emerges here. True wealth isn't just accumulated currency, it's accumulated competence and confidence. Discipline in learning feeds directly into competence, which in turn fuels the confidence to pursue higher value opportunities. It's a virtuous cycle. The most financially successful people aren't necessarily the luckiest or the most naturally gifted. They are almost always the most committed learners and adapters. They understand that the world keeps changing, and their ability to keep pace or even stay ahead is their greatest leverage. It's not about having all the answers now. It's about always being able and willing to find them. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. All right, let's move on to our third crucial shift in building your earn flow zone. And this one might surprise you because it challenges a fundamental belief many people hold about money. Shift 3. Strategic spending as investment. You see, people stuck in a scarcity mindset often view all spending with suspicion, dread, or guilt. Every dollar that leaves their account feels like a loss, a depletion, like watching precious water drain from a leaky bucket. Unless, ironically, it's a frantic, deprivation-fueled impulse purchase for temporary relief, which only amplifies the guilt later. It's like hoarding resources, but then occasionally splurging on junk food when you're starving. It feels good for a second, but doesn't actually build anything. A growth mindset operates entirely differently when it comes to outflows. It doesn't just see spending, it distinguishes sharply between consumption and investment. Consumption spending is like buying something that immediately starts losing value, provides a temporary fix, or simply disappears. Think most material goods that depreciate the second you own them. Fleeting experiences that leave no lasting positive trace, like that fifth impulse coffee this week. Or honestly, that junk food we just mentioned. It's necessary for basic needs, of course, but excessive or unconscious consumption is often a drain. Investment spending, on the other hand, is deploying money, or even time and energy, on things that have the potential to generate more value, knowledge, or capacity in the future. This could be investing in your health through better food or a gym membership, upgrading your skills through education or courses, acquiring tools for your business or side hustle, intentionally building relationships that open doors, or buying appreciating assets. Here's the surprising insight. Strategic spending isn't just okay. It can actually accelerate your progress towards financial freedom and personal growth. It's a myth that the best way to get ahead is to just save everything and spend nothing. Imagine you're trying to start a freelance side hustle to increase your income, but your ancient computer takes 10 minutes to boot up and crashes every hour. A scarcity mindset focuses solely on the price tag of a new, faster laptop. That's $1,000 gone. A loss. They continue struggling, wasting hours, getting frustrated, maybe even giving up. A growth mindset looks at that same $1,000 and sees it as an investment that enables efficiency, faster work, the ability to take on more clients, and ultimately higher earning potential. It's not money lost, it's capacity gained. You're not just spending money, you're acquiring levers, tools, knowledge, health improvements, network connections that increase your ability to earn, learn, and grow in the future. It's like fueling your personal and financial engine with high-octane gas instead of cheap, sputtering sludge. Understanding this distinction is powerful because it reframes your relationship with spending from one of fear and restriction to one of strategic allocation and empowerment. It allows you to be intentional and guilt-free about investing in yourself or your future, while being mindful and disciplined about consumption. Try this exercise this week. Look back at your spending from the last month. Pick out just one purchase that felt like pure consumption, something that provided temporary satisfaction but little lasting value. Now, identify one purchase that you could classify, even on a small scale, as a potential investment. Maybe a useful book you read, a course you took, a tool you needed, or even a conscious decision to buy healthier groceries. Just notice the difference in how those purchases make you feel and the different potential outcomes they represent. It's a simple step, but incredibly revealing about your current money mindset. Welcome to today's Transformation Dive, right here on Earn Flow Zone. Ever feel like you're stuck on a financial treadmill, running faster but getting nowhere? Like you're playing a rigged game where the rules keep changing and the finish line is always just out of reach. It's an incredibly common feeling, and honestly, for many, it feels like a harsh reality. But what if the game isn't rigged? What if you're just playing with an outdated playbook? Using strategies designed for scarcity in a world brimming with potential. We often chase the money itself, like a dog chasing its tail, thinking if we just get enough, everything will fall into place. Yet, you see people with significant income still stressing, still feeling short, still feeling poor in spirit, if not in dollars. This channel is about upgrading your playbook. It's about shifting not just your tactics, but your entire perspective. It's about understanding that your financial reality is less about the external economy and more about your internal ecology, your mindset, your habits, your beliefs about money and value. We're diving deep into those core shifts that can fundamentally alter your trajectory, turning scarcity thinking into an abundance engine. This isn't about overnight riches. It's about sustainable, powerful growth that starts from the inside out. We break down complex ideas into practical steps you can use right now, today. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think. Telling us you want more dives like this and helping others find us too. And hey, I'm curious. Drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win. Maybe something simple like tracking expenses or saving a little each week. I love hearing your wins. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. Okay, let's talk about a fundamental shift that trips up so many people, moving away from a scarcity mindset. Think about it. When you're stuck in scarcity, your brain is constantly on high alert, asking questions like, what can I get from this interaction? Or, how can I protect the tiny bit I have? It's like playing a game of King of the Hill, fiercely guarding your small patch of dirt. This mindset is inherently focused inward, centered on taking or defending. Now, contrast that with an abundance mindset. The core questions shift dramatically to what value can I create here? And how can I contribute to this situation or person? This is like joining a team focused on building something bigger than any single player. The surprising truth about how money actually works in the real world is this. Your income, your financial flow, is less a reward for simply showing up and more a direct reflection of the value you provide to the market. Whether that market is your employer, your freelance clients, the customers for your side hustle, or even just the community around you, you earn based on the problems you solve or the needs you meet for others. This is where the myth of simply working hard for money needs an upgrade. Sure, hard work is necessary, but hard work focused on the minimum requirement, solely for the salary, is the scarcity approach. You see this in the employee who watches the clock, does just enough to not get fired, and resents every task that isn't directly tied to their paycheck. Their focus is entirely on the exchange. Work equals salary. There's no inherent drive to improve the system, help a colleague beyond their job description, or take initiative on a difficult problem. They are operating from a place of what can I get? Or how can I keep my little bit safe? Now picture the alternative. Someone who actively seeks out inefficiencies to fix, who volunteers to help a struggling teammate, who proposes a new idea to streamline a process, even if it's outside their core duties. This person is operating from a growth mindset rooted in abundance. They are asking, what value can I create here? They are investing their energy not just into their tasks, but into the overall health and success of the environment they're in. They are building value, becoming more indispensable, not through negotiation tactics, but through genuine contribution. The fascinating, almost ironic part of this shift is that when you stop directly chasing money and instead focus relentlessly on creating genuine value for others, money tends to follow, often in unexpected ways. It's like trying to catch butterflies. If you run directly at them, you scare them away. But if you create a beautiful garden, they come to you. Focusing on contribution builds skills, reputation, connections, and opportunities. It makes you someone people want to work with, hire, and promote. It solves valuable problems that the market is willing to pay for. The other person, stuck in scarcity, often finds themselves overlooked for promotions, struggling to negotiate raises, and feeling resentful that their hard work isn't paying off, precisely because their hard work wasn't focused on generating value beyond the basic job description. Their energy was consumed by asking, "What can I get?" when the market is always asking, "What can you provide?" So, how do you start making this shift? It begins with small, deliberate actions that rewire your perspective. Your action. At your job or in your daily interactions, identify one small way you could add value or solve a problem for someone else today. Do it without expecting immediate financial reward. Maybe it's helping a colleague with a task that isn't yours, offering genuine positive feedback, finding a small efficiency in a common process, or simply going out of your way to make someone else's day a little easier. It's not about being a doormat. It's about intentionally practicing the habit of looking for opportunities to contribute before you think about what you might gain. Ask yourself, where can I make a positive impact today, however small? This one habit, practiced consistently, began to change everything for me, slowly but surely shifting my focus from inward protection to outward creation. We've covered some ground today, diving deep into the power of shifting your perspective, because ultimately, that's what Earn Flow Zone is all about. Unlocking your potential for financial well-being and personal growth by first transforming your internal world. We explored key shifts that move you from limitation to possibility, from reaction to creation. We talked about looking beyond the obvious, finding surprising leverage points, and understanding that true financial momentum often comes from unexpected directions. like focusing on contribution over mere consumption. The potential long-term benefit here is immense. Imagine operating consistently from a place of abundance, proactively creating value, and seeing your opportunities and resources expand naturally as a result. It's not just about a bigger bank balance. It's about feeling empowered, capable, and aligned with a sense of purpose in how you interact with the world and generate your income. It requires discipline, yes, but it's a discipline rooted in building something meaningful, not just restricting yourself out of fear. It's about training your brain, like training a muscle at the gym, to see possibilities and act from a place of strength and contribution. Don't just let these ideas wash over you. Pick one small shift we discussed today, perhaps the idea of finding one way to add value, and commit to practicing it this week. See what happens. Observe how it feels. Because in the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. Building the growth habit, day by day. You've likely heard the phrase mindset shift, and maybe you imagine it's like flipping a light switch. One day, you're stuck in scarcity, the next, you're swimming in abundance. If only it were that easy, right? The truth is, shifting your mindset, especially around money and opportunity, isn't a single event. It's a practice. It's about building a habit, day by day, choice by conscious choice. Think of it like building a muscle at the gym. You don't get six-pack abs after one workout, unless you're using a filter, which doesn't count. It takes consistent effort, showing up even when you don't feel like it. You won't magically eliminate those ingrained scarcity thoughts overnight, the ones whispering, "I can't afford that," "there isn't enough to go around," or "this is way too risky for me." These thoughts are often deeply wired, like old software running in the background. But here's the surprising power. You can absolutely get better at recognizing them and, crucially, choosing a different response. The moment you catch yourself thinking, "I can't afford," or "it's too risky," that's your cue. Don't judge yourself. Just acknowledge the thought is there. Then, gently, playfully even, challenge it. Ask yourself, is that absolutely 100% true in this moment? What's another way to look at this situation? How could I potentially make this possible? Even just one small step. This isn't about denying reality. It's about opening your mind to possibilities that scarcity thinking automatically shuts down. And please, for the love of your financial future, celebrate the small wins. Did you save an extra $10 this week you weren't planning on? High-five yourself. Did you finally research that investing platform you've been putting off? Victory. Did you have a positive, proactive conversation about money or career growth instead of defaulting to complaining or avoiding the topic entirely? That's huge progress. These tiny steps might seem insignificant in isolation, like a single raindrop, but together they create a flood of positive momentum. Your environment plays a massive role too. Surround yourself with people who embody a growth-oriented perspective. This could be friends, family, or even just the content creators and communities you follow online. If your go-to group for discussing money just complains about low salaries and high costs, effectively reinforcing a scarcity loop, try finding colleagues who share strategies for negotiating raises, or join online groups focused on building skills for side hustles or career advancement. It's like trying to eat healthy while living with people who only order pizza. The default setting is working against you. Shift the default. The truly surprising power in all of this is consistency. Those small, conscious choices you make daily, challenging a negative thought, celebrating a win, seeking out positive influence, aren't just fleeting moments. They are actively building new neural pathways in your brain, literally overriding the old scarcity patterns. It's like rerouting a river. It takes time and persistent effort, but eventually, the water flows in a new direction. Here is your action step, something you can implement immediately. When a scarcity thought about money or opportunity pops up today, acknowledge it without judgment. Don't beat yourself up for having it. Then immediately ask yourself this powerful question. What would a growth mindset suggest I do or think instead? This single habit changed everything for me, acting as a mental circuit breaker that opened the door to action and possibility. Try it. See what happens. Chapter 11. The compound effect of mindset. Just like financial interest that builds upon itself, growing your money exponentially over time, your mindset works on a similar, often unseen principle: compounding. We call it the compound effect of mindset at Earn Flow Zone. It's the idea that consistently applying a growth-oriented perspective compounds your opportunities, your knowledge base, and ultimately your financial capacity in ways you might not immediately grasp. Each seemingly insignificant step you take, maybe it's learning a new marketable skill for an hour after work, making a smart, small investment into an asset that aligns with your goals, building a valuable connection that could open future doors, or simply choosing to see potential opportunities instead of fixating on lack. These actions might feel small on their own, but they don't just add up. They multiply. They build upon each other, creating momentum and opening doors that were literally invisible from a scarcity perspective. Think about two people who both share a dream, let's say writing a book or starting a promising side hustle. The scarcity-minded person looks at the sheer scale of the project, writing 50,000 words or building a whole business from scratch, and is immediately overwhelmed. They fear the potential failure. They focus intensely on the cost and the time commitment required, and frankly, they often never even start. They get stuck in the what-ifs and the fear of imperfection. What if it's terrible? What if nobody buys it? It's too much work. I don't have the time. Maybe next year, they tell themselves, and the dream remains just that, a dream. Now, consider the growth-minded person with the exact same dream. They don't ignore the challenge, but they break it down. They understand the power of small actions compounded. They start with 1 page today, maybe dedicate just 1 focused hour tonight, or take 1 small step towards setting up that initial business structure. They commit to learning as they go, seeing every setback not as a failure, but as valuable feedback. Okay, that didn't work. How can I adjust? They ask. Over time, consistently showing up and taking those small steps, the second person actually creates something tangible and valuable. Maybe not perfect initially, but real. Meanwhile, the first person, paralyzed by the perceived mountain, remains stuck in inaction, their potential compounding against them in the form of regret and missed opportunity. The surprising reality here is that massive, life-changing success, whether it's building a significant income stream, achieving financial freedom, or mastering a complex skill, is almost never the result of one giant leap or some magical windfall. It's overwhelmingly the outcome of consistent, disciplined, smart actions fueled by an underlying belief in your own potential and the potential for growth. It's the tiny, daily decisions, compounded over weeks, months, and years. You don't get physically fit by going to the gym for 10 hours straight one day. You do it by going for an hour, 3 times a week, consistently. You don't learn a new language fluently overnight. You do it by practicing for 15 minutes every day. See the pattern? Your action step is to reflect. Think about an area outside of money where you've seen consistent, small efforts lead to significant, compounded results. Perhaps in your fitness journey, learning an instrument or a hobby, or even building a strong relationship. How can you consciously apply that same patience, consistency, and belief in small steps to cultivating your financial growth mindset and taking action? Try identifying one small financial growth action you can commit to daily or weekly for the next month. This one habit could change everything for you. Welcome to today's transformation dive on Earn Flow Zone, where we cut through the noise and get straight to building the life you want, starting with your finances and your mind. Let's be honest. Sometimes it feels like you're playing a rigged game, right? You work hard, maybe even get a decent paycheck, but the money never seems to stick. It feels like you're trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it, or worse, like the bucket itself keeps shrinking. You see people talking about financial freedom, investing, building wealth, and it feels like they're speaking a different language, living on a different planet. You might even joke about being bad with money, like it's some fixed personality trait, like being bad at parallel parking or folding fitted sheets. Seriously, who can fold a fitted sheet properly? It's a conspiracy. But what if it's not about being bad? What if it's about perspective, a different lens? That's exactly what we're here to explore. We're going to talk about something fundamental, something that underlies every financial decision you make, whether you realize it or not. This isn't just about budgets and spreadsheets. It's about wiring your brain for prosperity instead of scarcity. If you're tired of the financial treadmill and ready to break free, you're in the right place. We're building a community here of people who are serious about growth, not just making money, but making life richer, fuller, and more secure. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think. It tells me these topics matter to you, and it helps others find this zone of clarity and empowerment. Also, drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win. Let's celebrate those small victories. Your journey starts with a single step, and sometimes that step is just changing the channel in your mind. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. So, you've seen the trap, right? This invisible cage called the scarcity mindset. It's the feeling of not having enough, not being enough, and constantly bracing for the worst. It keeps you stuck, stressed, and playing small, regardless of how much money you actually have in the bank. Think of it like being trapped in a tiny, dark room, even when the door is wide open. It makes you see limits where there might be vast potential. It drains your energy, makes you feel overwhelmed, and impairs your judgment, often leading to quick, desperate financial decisions instead of strategic ones. You chase every penny, fear every expense, and opportunities often look like risks instead of possibilities. You've also glimpsed the alternative, perhaps in someone you admire or a book you read, the growth or abundance mindset. It's critical to understand this isn't some fluffy, wishful thinking mantra. It's not a magic wand that makes bills disappear. It's a powerful lens that focuses on possibility, learning, value creation, and strategic action. It's about building capacity, expanding your skills, and creating more value in the world, not just conserving what little you perceive yourself to have. It's about asking, "How can I?" instead of instantly stating, "I can't." It's the fundamental difference between seeing a challenge as a roadblock and seeing it as a puzzle to be solved or a skill to be learned. Here's the hard truth. with clear cause and effect. If you ignore this crucial difference, if you continue letting scarcity call the shots, you will likely stay on the financial treadmill, working hard but feeling stuck, making impulsive decisions born of fear, like splurging when you feel deprived or freezing when you should be acting, missing opportunities because you're focused on lack, and experiencing constant anxiety around money. Your potential will remain capped, not by the economy or your job, but by your limited view of the world and yourself. It's like driving with the handbrake on. You can press the gas all you want, but you won't go far. Here's a surprising fact. Studies show that people experiencing financial scarcity literally have reduced cognitive function because their brains are constantly preoccupied with lack. This isn't just a feeling. It's a verifiable impact on your ability to think clearly about your finances. But if you make the conscious, sometimes difficult, choice to practice the growth mindset, even imperfectly, even just chipping away at it, you start to dismantle those self-imposed limitations. You begin to see possibilities you missed before, not because circumstances changed, but because your perception changed. You make smarter, long-term decisions because you're thinking from a place of building, not just surviving. You invest in yourself and your future, understanding that your greatest asset is your ability to learn and adapt. You build momentum, like pushing a snowball downhill. You create more value for others, which is the engine of sustainable income and opportunity. You move from a place of fear and lack to a place of potential and progress. The most powerful asset you have, more than any investment account or property, is your mind and how you choose to direct it. So, we've talked about the mindsets, the traps, and the potential. You understand that your financial future isn't solely determined by external circumstances, the market, your boss, inflation, but it is powerfully shaped by the story you tell yourself about money, value, and possibility. It's easy to hear all this and think, okay, great, but where do I actually start? The gap between knowing and doing is where most people get stuck. They see the summit but don't know how to take the first step on the trail. This isn't about magically erasing all your financial worries overnight. It's about building a new foundation, one thought, one action at a time. Think of it like building physical strength. You don't get strong by thinking about weights. You get strong by lifting them consistently. Your mind is the muscle here. The single, clear, doable step you can take right now as this video winds down is designed to bridge that knowing-doing gap. It's something tangible, something that proves to yourself that you are serious about choosing growth over scarcity. This one habit, this immediate action, can be the pebble that starts an avalanche of positive change. Ask yourself, what's one small area where scarcity holds you back? Maybe it's believing you can't learn a new skill because you're not smart enough. Maybe it's avoiding looking at your budget because you fear what you'll find. Maybe it's not asking for what you're worth because you fear rejection. This one specific, tangible action you will take in the next 24 hours is simply to move from that scarcity thought to a growth action. What does that look like? Maybe it's researching that free online course you've been putting off because you told yourself you don't have time. Scarcity of time, often a cousin of financial scarcity. Maybe it's finding that free budgeting resource you bookmarked but never opened. Maybe it's identifying one tiny value add you can offer someone at work or in your side hustle, shifting from "what can I get" to "what can I give?" Or maybe And this is powerful. It's simply catching yourself in a scarcity thought. I can't afford that. I'll never get out of debt. And consciously reframing it, even just once, to a growth question. How could I afford that? What's one small step I can take towards reducing this debt? Just one small step. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't wait for permission or for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. Your financial future isn't waiting for external validation. It's shaped by the story you choose to embody, starting today. Choose a better story, starting with this one action. As we wrap up this session on Earn Flow Zone, let's just slow down for a moment and really let this sink in. We've journeyed from identifying the suffocating grip of scarcity to glimpsing the expansive potential of a growth mindset. We've seen how one keeps you stuck, anxious, and limited, while the other opens doors to possibility, learning, and progress. The big takeaway, the single most important truth we've touched upon today is this: your mindset isn't just a fluffy concept. It is the foundational operating system for your financial reality. It dictates your decisions, your actions, and ultimately, your outcomes. Ignoring this truth is like trying to build a skyscraper on quicksand. But tending to your mindset, consciously shifting it, is like reinforcing that foundation with steel and concrete. The potential long-term benefit of consistently practicing this shift is profound. You move from a life driven by fear and reaction to one built on intention and creation. You'll find yourself making smarter choices, not because you suddenly became a genius, but because you removed the mental fog that scarcity creates. You'll spot opportunities where others only see obstacles. You'll invest in yourself and your capabilities, understanding that you are the most valuable asset you possess. This isn't just about having more money. It's about having more freedom, more peace, and more control over your own destiny. It's a deeper insight about growth itself. True wealth isn't just accumulated, it's cultivated, starting from the inside out. Discipline in action flows from clarity in mind. When your mind is cluttered with scarcity, your actions are chaotic. When your mind focuses on growth, your actions become purposeful. It requires conscious effort, daily practice, like tending a garden. Some days you'll weed, some days you'll plant, some days you'll just water. There will be tough days, setbacks, moments where the old scarcity voice screams loud. That's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. It's about catching yourself, choosing differently in that moment, and getting back on the path. Remember that one tangible action you decided on. Do it. Seriously. Do it today. That single step isn't just a task. It's a declaration to yourself that you are choosing a different future. It's proof that you are the author of your financial story, not just a character being tossed around by circumstances. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around.